Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everybody. This is Brother Yusuf coming at you. Um, Gentrification. This is really one of those subjects that it's somewhat frightening, and I just don't really know how to feel about it anymore. I know that it's wrong. I know that it's pretty much out of our control. At least it feels that way. Um, but what can we do about it? And when we look at a number of the things that we associate with gentrification, namely the fact that we can no longer afford to live in our own community. We can no longer afford to pay the rents, the mortgage of our own neighborhoods and communities. And we're essentially being bought out. We have these double mortgages that we've paid on our house to try to stay there, and it's just so much going on in the community. And it's particularly when we say gentrification, we're talking about the black community. Um, by far is the most impacted by this gentrification. Um, and I've lived both in Northern California and Southern California, and I'm seeing it on both ends. Where when I was in Oakland, I saw, my people still walking around, walking the streets. But was it safe? Was it an environment that we would like to raise our children and sit out on the front porch and without any fear of the neighborhood kids picking on my son and and making him join a gang and smoke weed and hang out and drink and just we know what comes with that, and it's really unfortunate because that's really what we have to do as a community. We really have to pay attention to what's going on around us. What has happened to our community? What is happening to our children that are being raised in these communities? And then when we look at gentrification, where once upon a time, my neighbor was another African American. Now we see Asian community and white. Now let me make something clear. As I talk about this, I don't want anyone to mistakenly, you know, label me as someone that has an issue with white Americans or Asian Americans or any other race. It's just something I wanna point out here, and that is when other folks, whether you call it white privilege, whether you call it, um, the Asian communities and these communities that get a free pass when they come to America to build up and to grow, to receive bank loans, to buy businesses and things like this. And then we look at ourselves, we've been here all this time. And I was looking at a movie not too long ago with my wife, and it was I forgot the name of the movie, but the black soldiers were over fighting in the war, and did a good job and fought for the country, and they were in Europe, and it was treated totally different. When they got back home, they still had to deal with the racism. The civil rights movement was in its early stages, and it's still a bunch of mess that our people had to deal with when they got back home. So so during those times, we know that white America moved out to the outskirts, moved to the more classier areas. They always been there, like Beverly Hills, places like that, Westwood. But we talking about moving out in the hills, the valleys and all of these places. And now, because the city is where the money is at, the city of Los Angeles, the city of Oakland, these big cities that have a lot of wealth, and everything, that's the hub of everything that's happening in a community or in the metropolitan city. So they want it back. They're coming back, and we're getting pushed out to those very valleys that they left. So it goes from us living in our own neighborhoods, tearing them up, and largely due to our miseducation, uneducation, and being blocked out of opportunities, blocked out of higher learning, blocked out of livable wage jobs and things like that. So our communities go to ruins. White America sit on the outskirts and just watch us burn down our own communities during the riots, and now they're coming back, and those very homes, those very communities and neighborhoods that they refuse to be in, they're now living right next door. And the homes, I was just in my own neighborhood, and there was a home there going for $800,000. $800,000 now for a home in the black community, which was once a community where you could buy a home back in the day for, 100,000 or a little more than $100,000, and that's all changed. So they found a way to push us out. They know that we can't afford to live there because we don't have the jobs that's paying us enough money to stay. They know we don't have the education level, so therefore we're blocked out of career opportunities. So it's a lot of issues in our community that we have to really deal with. We're not tackling them, and I put some of that on the church too, because I really feel like the church plays a major role in the African American community, but they're totally missing, in my eyes, to the real work on the ground. Now, of course, there's a few churches here and there. They're on the front line. They're part of the movement. They're part of all of this, But we had enough speeches. We've had plenty of speeches. We had plenty of rallies and town hall meetings and things like that. But when is the real work going to come? When is the churches, even the mosques, and all of these places where African Americans call home or call sanctuaries, where we're getting guidance and spiritual awakenings are happening, but yet our communities are disappearing from our hands. We have no more control, and now we're pushed to the valleys. I'm no different. I'm subject to the valley. I'm pushed out to the valley myself because I can't afford to live. I would love to be able to live in my old neighborhood. I would love to be able to say that my address is Los Angeles, right? But I can't afford Los Angeles. I can't even afford Gardena or Hawthorne or Torrance or any of those surrounding communities that make up LA County, the cities surrounding the city of Los Angeles. So it's really grim. It's really difficult for me to deal with this subject because it's one of those subjects that the more I think about it, it's like, I'm sitting around thinking about a home and I want to buy a home and I'm saying, I can only afford a home in places like Moreno Valley and going way out to Nevada, Las Vegas, because it's cheaper, right? Could buy a home for $200,000, $100,000 still in places like Nevada. Why do I have to leave? Why do I have to leave? Right? Why am I not being pre-approved for a fixed, mortgage, 15-year, 30-year fix in my own community? Because I can't afford it. And we don't have the jobs, we don't have the credibility, we don't have the career opportunities, we don't have the college, we don't have these things because we've been kept out, we've been pushed out. The domino effect of slavery and the civil rights movement, the hatred that's been imposed upon us as a people has been so devastating. And not to say that that's an excuse, but it is a factor, it is a clear factor. Is to where we are at. And everybody want to just say pull yourself up by the bootstrap. Okay, well, some of us can. And some of us are trying to do that. Pull ourselves up by the bootstrap. But this is a difficult situation that we're in. And I wish that my people would just look at each other and say, brother, you just as black as I am, and let's put the guns down. I just read one of my friends, close friends in Oakland, just shared on Facebook a story of a man killed in the street in Berkeley, in Oakland, gunned down, killed, young man who had a daughter, I think like 8, 9 years old, and the mother. It happened on the 23rd of December, so she didn't want to tell his daughter that her father had been killed until after Christmas. It's sad. I mean, it's sad where we are as a people, and we have to lay down the guns. You know, folks, if y'all out there listening, you know, we have to lay down the guns. We have to lay down the hatred towards ourselves. We got enough hatred towards us from the Trump administration, from folks in power, from folks in uniform. And I'm not saying all law enforcement hate us, but we got a lot of folks that are totally against us. And we're still hating on each other. Hate to see the next person, you know, benefiting and advancing and excelling in life. There's always haters of our own, mad because we're, you know, gaining good from this world, right? When we're going to come together and say enough is enough? Let's start fighting. Let's stop killing. Let's make our neighborhoods safe. Let's make our communities hubs for our youth that are growing up in these public schools. These public schools can be turned totally around, and they can be places of growth. These can be places of growth, tremendous growth. If they were safe, they were, you know, we wasn't tearing them down, right? We didn't have drug infestation. We would be in a better state as a people if we were able to do that. So every little bit helps. Let's take some steps. You know, I know I've been blasting the Timeless group on Facebook, online, because we're trying to do something. You know, like I said, every little bit helps. You know, get with Timeless. Maybe Timeless can be a platform for you guys, if you know, to get with our program and volunteer to, you know, to help us out. Send some donations over to us, you know, because we're going to do something. We're going to do the best we can to try to make a difference in our community. But we all need to be doing this. The churches need to be doing this. The masjids need to be doing this. The local community need to be engaged with the youth, with the thugs, the gangbangers, the hustlers, the pimps, the players. We need to be having a conversation about how we're going to deal with this gentrification that is taking place right in front of us. I'm so sick of hearing about affordable housing. Affordable housing. Stacked 5 high now. It's no more just, you know, first and second floors. They stacking them. And then we turn that into a new gang. Like a blood or crip module or something. We run it down and bust it all up, make it unsafe, unhealthy, not a good place to raise our kids. What's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? And gentrification is happening because we would not wake up. That's where I'm at. Have a blessed new year.